Welcome back. It's BRITAM Money Moves, and we're talking about the thing that helps you to make the money, save the money, invest the money, maintain the money. Because, yeah, those are money moves. I'm Flavia Tumsime-Kawura. Last week, we talked about all those basics, the things that you go through to figure out the money moves. But today, I wanted to touch on that thing about making money from your passion to profit. We say that a lot. Find a thing you love to do so that you never have to work a day in your life. But it can sound like just quotes if you don't actually get to the details, right? So I figured to bring you one of my friends who's actually done just that. The thing she loves, the thing that you can wake her up at any point in the night and she does, she's turned it into a business. Anita Beryl of Beryl Couture. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Wearing your favorite color.
And of course.
So I know that the success is seen today, and people will think it will take me 1 year maximum to get a Beryl Couture brand out there. But you've been at it for how long now?
14 years, 15 next year.
You can imagine that. Does it feel like 15 years?
No way. Zero. And actually each time I think I'm adding a new year, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I was supposed to celebrate 5. When was 5 though?
10, and then...
I can't remember that.
Yes, because you don't stop.
No.
You don't stop and the year goes by quickly. I wanted to go back to the beginning because I'm your friend, but I also don't think I know the real story of what led you into this life, what led you into this business.
I mean, I think that at the end of the day, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And at that particular moment, I mean, there was a time I got to know what I wanted to do. And at that particular moment, it was very clear that what I thought was just a simple passion and a way of getting by, a way of killing my time. And it was such a funny story. But after realizing that that was something I could actually turn into a career, that was something that would actually really pay me well.
Yes.
It took just one moment and I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm also not very lazy when it comes to decision making. I actually make the decision and I work too much. So I woke up and I said, let's try it. What's the worst that can happen? Yeah. And it was really, let's try it, let's do it. It must work. It really must work. And I didn't give myself options of, I
plan
have this
B.
job, but there's a plan B here because I wasn't really built for that. I go all in or I don't go at all, but I don't know how to scatter myself. So I said, I do not have any other thing that I love as much as I do this. So what I will do is I'll fall into it, I won't look aside and I'll give it everything I have.
But were you defining it as fashion, building a brand? Or at the time it's like,
0%.
You're like, I'm just going to...
For me, I think in the beginning it was how, this is what I genuinely love. How can it pay me? Because at the end of the day, I'm a firstborn child. Responsibilities are extremely...
Black tax.
Listen, it's just too much. And then I needed to make sure that I can actually sustain my life. I can actually look after myself, look after my family.
Wow. The hands will be the thing
and
that
I'm like,
gets
okay,
me.
if other people can make it, it only means that that's possible. That's all I needed, actually. And one of the reasons I always love Sleeve Your Worries because for me, it was that sign.
She was the example because I actually almost said 15 years ago, apart from Sylvia, maybe Santa as well, there wasn't, like, it wasn't a vibrant business as it is today. And also because remember even Santa and Sylvia were not in your age bracket. So there wasn't someone close, because for so many designers right now, you're close to them.
Too close.
Yeah. So they can actually see the reality of their passion.
And we talk.
Exactly.
They call you like, Anita, how can I do, what should I do? And they have access to us who have already gone through what we needed to go through.
Which you didn't necessarily
I didn't have any of that.
It, yes.
And so I had to struggle through it.
Yes. Yeah. And also, like, remember, it wasn't, as much as you were seeing them succeed and make the money off what they were doing, it was so far away. So because it wasn't, like I would say, musicians. Not everybody knew they could succeed from music. It wasn't something you would just say, I'm a musician, and everybody says, oh,
good for you. Wonderful. I want to be like you.
Yes. If you say a fashion designer, people are like, what?
First of all, you need to explain in this country you come from. When you actually, now it's different, but then you needed to explain what that even means.
Yes.
And you're like, so I make clothes, so I design, like, oh, so you're like tailor.
Tailors.
Yes, because everybody has a tailor, So you're a tailor. I'm like,
Not really.
Not really, but that also comes in.
Having to explain the whole process.
So you had to explain yourself. You had
Yeah.
to explain, and you had to make sure people actually understand. Otherwise, you looked like, oh, wow. You just got wasted like that.
But must you know, because I've seen you work and
Yeah.
you are at every process. You're
Yeah.
the tailor, they say that you are, and you're the one designing the concept, and you're
Yes.
the one sourcing and stitching and doing all of that. Does that have anything to do with your beginning? Because as much as it was your passion, maybe because sometimes when it's your passion, you want to learn everything around it.
Yeah, no, it's not even about you wanting to learn. It's the only option you have.
Right.
Because when you're beginning, you are one like this. If you're lucky enough, you're going to get just an extra help.
Yeah.
But remember, you're beginning, you can't afford it. You do not have that
Yes.
kind of capital to wake
To
up in
hire.
the morning and say. But also, some people have that, and that's really wonderful for them.
Yeah.
But at my level, I didn't have that. I didn't have the capital that says, okay, now big brand, fashion show, produce these. Now we have started.
Yeah.
You know, at such a bank. Maybe if I had that, things would be really different. But at that point, I had to be alone because that's the only option I had.
Right.
But in a long run, that helped me a lot because then I was involved in every step of whatever it is that was going on.
Yeah.
And that helps you build, it gives you such a deep, strong foundation. I think that if I had actually started maybe that high, I wouldn't probably have made the 10 years even. But now, I don't know if you can shake me. It's not possible because
Right.
I have gone through everything. I know how to fall and get up. I know how to evolve. I know how to jump onto the
Right.
next. Like, it's such a full feeling. And that's what I tell everyone. Please go back, gently enter into this, build a very strong foundation,
Yeah.
and see where it takes you.
The details of
It's
thing.
in the details.
Yeah.
Because if you can't build it beautifully now, it crashes after some time.
Yeah. Knowing where to start is
Yeah.
always the problem. Even for us, even when I sit down and I draw my career plan and I know exactly where I want to be in 2 years,
Yeah.
coming back to work backwards is always the problem. Knowing where I want to go, I know.
We all do.
Right? But where to start
Where to
is the problem. So I'm wondering in your kind of business, because even then it might help us to figure out somebody else with their passion, where they're starting.
Yeah.
What do you do at that point of starting? Because like you said, I'm alone. It's not like I have so much money running around. How do you tell yourself, or how do you inform yourself on where to start? Are you studying? Are you getting people to hold your hand? Are you learning the craft in a certain way? What are you doing at the
So
beginning?
first of all, I know personally, I don't like to be a mediocre at anything. And I think that helps me so much because I want to learn. I want to be prepared for what I'm about to get in. At that point, I knew that this is what I loved. But surely it can't be just that is going to make me money. That
Just
I'm looking
loving
for.
it.
Just loving it, being able to do it. What do you mean? So I knew I did a lot of research. And after doing my research, I knew exactly what I needed to do. And I knew that no matter, you see, the passion will stop somewhere. It can only take you so far. The actual knowledge of what you should be doing. Let's say you love to cook, but you're not going to open a restaurant because you love to cook.
No.
You know, you also now need to get into the
business side
part
of it,
that.
yeah.
Even in the cooking itself, if you know how to cook, let's say groundnut sauce, how about the groundnut that has something else in it? You want to try and see how best can you make this groundnut. How can you present it? How can you? So you find that you need that perfect, or if I may call it that, the right knowledge.
Yes.
Which now then takes you to the next level. What do I do? How do I get that kind of training? Where do I get to a school? How can I get to a school? Or, you know, any training, form of
Yeah.
training, how can I get that? And for me, I think that was what I wanted. I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it at the highest of levels. I'm going to
Right.
try as much as I can. Give it a chance to be the best. You know?
Yeah.
So that's when I now then looked for schools and I said, okay, let me study. Let me study about it. Let me learn what this is about. And that really helped.
It changed everything.
Everything.
Yeah, and when you talked about the passion stops somewhere.
Yeah.
Because now you need the business end of it. And I find like that's the problem, because when you're just still alone, even if you have goals for your business to grow, it's still small. Even
Yeah.
if you came back, it's still small. And you can be tempted to just be excited the first time you make that big sale, the first time the money starts to trickle in.
Yes, I did.
And not be able to plan properly or figure things out.
dear.
What can you tell us about that first wobbling stage when you're still shaky?
I knew I had made it when I got back from South Africa because I got my first training in South Africa. And when I came back, it was a small college, pretty hands-on. So you're really good with. I think after that you're really good with, let's say, production. You're really good with the designing and the construction part of it. But the business part of it was 0%.
Yeah.
So when I go back, I was so excited. I said, now I'm here. I can do it. I knew exactly what to do.
Yeah.
I got a room at Kamu Plaza.
Yes.
And started my first. Actually, that's where I was when we met, when I was doing your first. Your first,
So,
I remember.
so I never actually went to the store.
Yeah,
You were always either meeting somewhere.
Also, where were you going to change from in that store?
Kamu Plaza.
So I had to like keep moving towards you, and then sometimes you come to my home.
I did not know.
Yeah, it was Kamu Plaza, and it was a tiny small room, and I thought that I had now got it. Until 1, 2, 3 months, I'm like, okay, so how do we do this exactly?
Yes.
In a long run, I realized that there was so much more. Like for me to now turn this now into a business was something else completely.
Yeah.
And I think I would have literally thrived at that point if I now got a job somewhere else, and then I was just giving them what
designs
and then the business is run by somebody else. But running the business myself and building a brand actually was now in jeopardy, because now it's like, okay, I don't know what to do. Time to go back.
Yeah.
That's when I went to French Fashion University to ESMOD, and now it was now fuller. And then I learned better business management. I learned, the fashion business is really wide.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I got out of there, I was not as excited as I was in the beginning.
Really?
Because now I knew that
this
was tough. It's
you
not
knew
a
the
joke.
work it takes to do it.
I wasn't that excited at that point. I said, okay, God, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
I said, okay, let's calm down. I realized that I needed to now build a proper business, and hire different people for different things that I can't do.
Yes.
Accountings, you have, there's so much. And when you are alone in the beginning, when you're starting, you don't see it. But the deeper you dig, the more I think, the more
necessary
you get
these roles are and these people
then
are.
you now learn. And then you realize that it's not just a matter of waking up in the morning, getting to a machine and making a dress. Everybody can do that.
What sets you apart?
Can actually
and
do
in
that.
Kamu there are many others.
There's so many.
Who will do it for cheaper.
Yes. But
And
not
in-
everybody who can do that will build a brand and sustain
Yes.
it and, see it to, the levels of Chanel's that we are seeing.
Yes.
And what. So, and for me, it kept haunting me. And like, so my inspiration was never the small brands that I'm seeing. I'll be like, okay, how did exactly Gucci get here?
Yeah.
How is it possible that these guys have this? And we didn't even get to see who started it. We can't even go to that.
You don't know the beginning
We're like
story.
on the 10th generation
Yes.
of
Gucci.
of Gucci. But it's still here. So I said, you never know. Let me go slow. Let me go gently. One day, maybe 30 years from now, Anita Beryl will still be here. And that is really my hope.
Yes.
So you have to work so hard to see how that actually comes.
Last week, they were teaching us here about how don't reinvest everything. Live a bit of life, balance out, so that you don't feel like you're living zero life and everything is going into the business.
Yeah.
Were you able to do that as well?
I mean, the fact that right from the beginning, the thing that the first probably 3-4 years I was making losses, I had nothing to really.
You're like, there's nothing
That
balanced.
was only the cards for me. I wasn't trying to think about saving anything, because what am I saving if I can't even pay the rent?
Yes.
I was, I think at that point I was not there yet, and I wasn't even realizing any profit at all. But what I knew I was getting was the experience, and I was doing things better. I would do something wrong today, and then I would realize, oh my God, that was wrong. Then I would. So that first stage for me was, I think, the foundation of what would get me later to make the money even try and save. And when I learned that, because then that came with now building confidence even with my customers, and even knowing that people are going to get to a point where they'll say, I would rather pay any amount but go to Anita Beryl. Why?
That takes time.
Oh, dear Lord, yes. And that comes now. But I took so much time to build it in the beginning. When I was not making any profit,
Yes.
when I had no money, when I had, but I was sticking to my word. you know, and I kept saying, no, I'm going to do it better. If this fabric is bad, I'm going to now try a different one. If I delayed, you know, deliveries this time, I'm going to now try and deliver more.
Yes.
So that got me closer to a time now I started making a little bit of money. And also after like from S-Mode, I knew that things had to change. So I had to hire different people, and that's when the best person was actually my sister, because she was a banker, and then my other brother was in accounts. Like, listen, like my family is like in that space.
Sometimes the people you need are around you.
Around you, and you
Yes.
just don't know.
Yes.
And then I came in, and once they got into the books and now realized that I was making terrible losses, and you'd come in because
Eat
you're
as you
smiling,
earn.
and I need you as much as I can. I'm like, no, it's 500,000. Like, what? No, I have 200. I said, okay.
It's okay.
I'll do it. And I have that.
And there I was going to ask about pricing, how you priced, and you've just said this. You were pricing on, okay, you're a nice person.
I was pricing because I was looking at the bigger picture, like, I didn't even think it was that at that point. And like, how can I don't want her to go.
You
like,
want Flavia to be a repeat
By
customer.
the time she goes, I want her to be happy. So for me, that took like center stage in my life. I was like, I want my clients to be happy. I want them. So if you say, no, but this one I didn't like it, I'm like, no, don't worry, I'm going to change it.
But it costs you money to change it.
Yes.
Yes.
Because you have lost a dress, you're going to recreate that dress. You're buying new fabric, you're buying new everything, and then now then she's happy.
But you...
She's genuinely happy, but I come back and I'm like, okay, I don't have money, but I'm happy, you know?
Yeah.
I was happy at that point. And then later, when the team now came on, and also remember it came on at a time I had already lost, failed, did everything, and then I had already now understood their purpose in this whole business.
Yes.
And now they started afresh and said, okay, this is how this is going to work. And we are all like, you know, we're like...
Have we agreed?
Have we agreed? Have you met Patience?
Yes.
We don't agree. She comes and tells me, no.
Dictator.
We are stopping here. This is exactly what you charged.
But I think people need that.
You have
because
to.
sometimes your passion is sometimes you the talent.
So
and someone needs to...
Listen, one thing I learned very clearly was that was not my business. Mine is the one that makes people happy, that creates, that is dreaming, that is doing all of this. But coming down to how much that dream of mine should cost, what I should charge for it, the time I have put in, everything, it's for somebody else.
Yeah.
Even if I learned and went to school today, my
and they explained it to you,
does not allow me to do it.
Yeah.
So that was the time, and I think it was a good thing because then I learned that, and when they started, I started realizing
the business became a business.
It became a business. One time, my brother Moses was doing accounts and everything. He files everything.
Yeah.
When he got to, I think it was like end of the year, I think.
Yeah.
And he probably told me, well, your company, I mean, right through here, we see that you have literally received over 600 million. Meanwhile, you're telling me this at a time I'm even looking for salaries to pay.
The business says you have the money.
He told me that the business
where is
says,
the money?
This is what you have. So where is it?
Even you asking, where is it?
I asked him the same. I said, but you guys, I was mad.
Where is my money?
I was mad. I was like, where is it?
Yeah.
He sat me there and I said, you see here?
Yeah.
When you add these to things that you did not plan, this is exactly what is happening. So even after that had
That's
come
a big loss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even after that stuff had come on, it also took us a little bit of time to
Right.
still reorganize it and actually start seeing where the money needs to come from.
Right.
And where it is coming from and where we're wasting it. You know? So little by little, we got to a place now when I think maybe by the time, I think that the last 5 years have been years of now enjoying what you created.
Can you
10 years
imagine?
ago. Yes. That's when you're able to say, no. And it's more, like, I don't know how I can explain it to you, but it's a very beautiful feeling when you know that that's no longer any of your business.
Yes.
I am paid money like any other person. That is for
your energy, your creativity.
Energy, for my creativity.
Yeah.
It puts it aside, and everybody's paid what they need to be paid.
Yeah.
And that's when I now start realizing what I also have. Because when you have this thing, sometimes when you have this big brand, and mine is actually way bigger than me, everybody keeps thinking, you have so much money, but I actually don't have so much money.
Someone pays for a dress and says, but that girl is rich.
Yes, the company might have money, but
yes.
I also have a small portion that I take off that I will use to go and enjoy myself. And then there is also what they think that, I mean, what goes back into now the system,
yes.
you know. And then there also, and also what I realized and what I loved later is that we then built a culture of saying, we created like a bank within the whole business.
Right.
We're like, we want to create money. So when we need money to invest, we're not struggling. We're not asking you to pick your personal money to come and invest.
Right.
You know? So we're able to calculate and say, okay, this is profit, this is going here. As soon as this goes to a different account. So when we need the other one, when we need, let's say, to invest more, we will go to the other side.
When the business needs to grow, it's not calling Anita.
It's
The
not
business
calling
calls
Anita.
itself.
Yes, they say, okay, where am I? And at that
Yes.
point, I needed also to be told to step out. Yeah. They said, step out. Stop thinking this business is you. Step out, be you, and then we run
The business is the
you know?
business.
Yeah.
A lot of people watching this maybe wiggling in their chairs because what do you mean? But it's my money. I'm the one who makes my money. Because even you were once in that place.
Yes.
You know, it's my money, but I am the one going out to the Beryl. Do you see the business? It's called Beryl. But what does that do? Because I would assume you're looking at yourself saying, if I had done this sooner,
Yeah.
if I had known the basics sooner, I would be farther. You know, for someone who's looking at today,
Yeah.
and not maybe thinking about the years to come or expansion. But also, I get the feeling it's a mindset thing, Anita, because maybe I have my business, it starts to make 20 million, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to it, and I'm like, what do you mean a business can make 600 million? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's down to a mindset and ambition thing.
Yeah.
Some people are not willing to see how far their businesses
Like, today,
can
if I
go.
can eat, it's fine.
Yes, so that's also a mindset for
Yeah.
someone to want their business. And maybe someone who's been watching who doesn't want to compromise on quality has believed it's possible by
Yeah,
hearing that you refuse to compromise for almost a decade until you go to this other side. What can you get wrong even when you have the systems? Even when you have Moses saying this, patient saying this is how things are supposed to go. Even when, quote unquote, the business seems to be going well, there are still things you're still learning till today.
Yeah.
Even in the system, you're saying, I wasn't ready for this part.
I think the biggest challenge is also looking at is separating yourself from it.
From the business.
That is where the biggest challenge is, because sometimes, honestly, you look at the business and there's money, and you need to tell yourself that that's not your money. And then again, but it's my money. And I, by the way, I have access to everything. You know? And then, so it's a very deep discipline you have to really get into and say, no, I cannot afford this today. The money might be there, but that's not my money. And again, it goes to where your dream is stopping.
Yeah.
If I can go through that, because where I'm headed is much bigger than where I am right now. And as me, I don't stop dreaming.
Yeah.
Like, my dream is still so high, and I feel like I'm only like on like the first floor when I have like 100 floors to go.
Yes.
So I don't get comfortable at all. And in that space, and I think just like you said, in that space, I am able to say, you know what, this is really not my money.
Yeah.
This has got to be Anita Beryl in future. It can't be me now.
Yeah.
If I take this away and buy myself something amazing, tomorrow we're going to go back to scratch.
Yes.
We're going to start
We're coming back to the conversation.
Come back to where now we are.
Yes.
So you have to need it so badly. But then again, if this was my dream, I think I would be really doing everything and taking out the money, because, I mean, we're here now. We
arrived.
Yeah, we arrived. Because if we're here now, why can't we just enjoy ourselves? Because us, we're here on the rooftop. There's nowhere else to go.
Yes.
You know? And the money is there, and we also already have a system that can
Keep the
actually
money
make this,
coming,
this money can
multiply
keep-
it, yes.
Yes, can keep multiplying. So that, I think, is a case of just discipline and choosing. By all means, if you have arrived, please eat your money.
If for your goal
If your
is where you
goals
are.
done, please do it today.
Is it necessary for you to change your personal finance habits? Because there's the business, Beryl Couture, and then there's Anita Beryl. Must I learn some things in how I handle my money for me to be able to change things in how the business handles its money?
Absolutely.
Because someone might say, me, I can be bad with money, but the business won't be bad with money.
I think it definitely affects the other side, because I think what what you do. You know how they say, let's say, for example, let me give you an example, like when they say charity begins at home.
Yes.
You need to start within yourself, because the business is literally your baby. You feel in and then flow into the business.
Yeah.
If I am reckless with money, I'm not going to be strict about how this money is organized, because at the end of the day, I still have a very big say. There might be people organizing this and this and this, but if I wake up and I say, please send me 30 million to my account, and you don't even know what I'm going to use it with.
They can ask questions, but they stop
your
somewhere.
Questions, you can answer them yourself. I'm the boss here. If
I can say, I said.
Yes. I feel like, what do you mean? Do you know what I'm working on next? You don't know. So calm down, save the money, and then I'll just go and use it.
You're right.
So if I'm not able to just get into myself and say, Anita, no. You know you can't do that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I genuinely don't have money. Sometimes I'm like...
You're broke.
And I'm also looking for a way to go to bed and say,
do you know?
What exactly do I give to get this money?
What do you need from me?
Yeah.
But at least that's a better mindset of, guys, what value can I give you for you to give me money versus I am the boss. Give me money.
Yeah. Because I think that because at the end of the day, this is your business. And it might work for everyone. It might be a bigger brand in future. But this is also this is my pride. This is what I love.
Yeah.
So it would make me happy if whatever I do or the way I handle myself does not affect it.
Yes.
And when it comes to finances, that is really that is key. You cannot be reckless and think that the business is going to be proper unless you're cut off from it.
Completely.
Completely. Unless you're like sit here and you're employed like any other person, you're not like in the deep inside the organization.
Yes,
of it,
yes.
You know?
Or
that way
the
they might
day-to-day.
be able to control you. Because I think that there must be people also who are like that. And I think that the moment you say, okay, I do not have rights to do this,
Right.
then they can help you. At that point, it is really to your own benefit.
Yes.
But me, because of what I believe in and where I am headed and what I'm trying to plan, it's important.
Yeah.
It's very, very important that I organize myself and then pour that into even the
Reflect that into the business.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who want the business not just for themselves, because you have big goals. When you spoke about Gucci being a generational wealth and generational business, I can see that being that for you, where you want it to be 30, 40 years down the line. The Beryl Couture brand has only grown and expanded.
Yes.
And there's somebody who's watching this who had never probably seen it from that angle. They'd seen it from, I wanted to pay school fees right now, parent, build me a small house, and then also look after my children. When I die, my children take it. That's the dream, but the actions are not matching the dream. Do you see what I mean? There's a need for change there, where if I'm trying to be at a level where my threshold of money earning is 100 million, my actions must be 100 million level. So I don't know if you're able to speak into that, even if it's a business that is smaller than yours, on how you also need to change as a person, whether it's your habits, how you think, how you learn, how you train, how you hire, the different things that go into the level of business you're trying to do.
That is completely true. Because you see, you can't be dreaming 5-star and living 2-star, or believing and thinking. I don't even know how that can work. You have, it's like how you want to be a certain person, and you surround yourself with people that are
not even close to that.
Not even close to where you're going, and they're not in any way pushing you to, inspiring you to be what you want to be. When you want to go higher, you need to start thinking higher. So when you, I think, have a business that you have a big goal for, you have to start right from even the staff that you hire. Right. Because there, the world is changing so fast. The people that I would hire 7 years ago, are not the same people I'm looking for now. When I look at, and sometimes it's okay, I would rather have 3 people on my team that are doing the right thing than have 20 that can do something so quick, and it is the standard of
quality, not quantity.
Never. For me, quantity has never been me, ever. And that's why, even today, I would rather do 3 dresses a month that are major, beautiful dresses. Right. Than 100 that I can do if I allow everybody. And we're just all over. And it's just, because we're hungry for this. I realized that a long time ago, and I said, okay, this is beautiful because then I don't have to also kill myself for everyone.
Right.
You know, I will kill myself for that person that comes in. Because how you think and where you're going also attracts the kind of person you're headed for.
Mm-hmm.
There are people now that will tell you, no, I don't think I can go to Anita.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let me go somewhere. I know
Yeah.
someone who will help me here, you know?
Yes.
And that's very beautiful. Because there's also someone who is still at that
Who
level
can
needs
handle
you,
that as a
you know.
client, yes.
And then there's where I'm headed and the people that I'm looking to, or the kind of service I'm looking to offer, that I need to be able to do stuff that attracts that kind of person.
Right.
If I am hoping that, oh my God, in future I want to be dressing presidents, I want to be dressing, and then I'm still here doing things mediocre, and I'm using very fake fabrics, and I'm using, you know, because I want to cater to everyone who is still here at this level.
Yeah.
Or maybe I have staff and people who are doing things that are going to keep, I'm going to stay there. I am going to really stay there. And the world we live in is very, very, I think, generous in that kind of way.
Yes.
Where you put yourself, they will come.
Yes.
You know.
We find
And
you
it's
at where you are.
Yes, at your level. We'll meet
Yeah.
you. So it's up to you. When you decide that you want to go higher, you have to prepare for that. You have to change everything about you for that. You have to be headed for that. Also, sometimes when you're headed for biggest, you don't have space and time for the smaller things. You're like, it's okay. You want a shirt, a T-shirt to wear, I don't have space and time to do that.
Yes.
Because I'm trying to make a big wedding gown for someone. How can I come from this now to this, you see? So I'm thinking that also when you're thinking higher, you have to come back and see what gets me to that. The people that I have around me, will they get me that? The stuff that I have, the machinery that I have, it comes back to
Yes.
absolutely
Tools,
everything.
yeah.
Yes. Is that going to do what I need, or is that going to still stay here and it will only be in my head? It can also stay in your head.
Oh, yes.
I will get there one day like this, one
If
day.
I have
Yeah,
everything
but right now
is-
we're here seated.
You're planning here in the head.
It's here, and you know,
Yeah.
times are going, and there's just so much happening. And before you know it, it's 20 years, and you've been just doing the same thing because we have seen it. You've seen it. You stay in the same space. You don't grow. You don't get anywhere. But you're just there, and you have a sea of people.
Two things that I'm thinking about here. One is the fact, and I think we'll come to that last when we're saying the market, because somebody might argue that if they did not know your brand was Uganda, and if they did not see you in Uganda, they would argue that the price you're attracting and everything you're attracting is from another market and not the Ugandan market. And yet for 15 years, let's say the last 5 years, you've proven that it's there. So we'll come back to that market conversation. But also, it's amazing that you told your story from very humble beginnings until where you are today. Most people right now will claim, I can't start small because I'm still surviving. Because I'm not going to say, I'm waiting for the quality because I want to just do the T-shirts and the what, because I need 20,000, I need 30,000, because they don't feel they can survive, and as they wait for the main client. You know, it's a thing of like, there are 30 clients, but then there's that one who will make it worthwhile. The quality. How do we stop seeing quantity? Because especially at the beginning, because right now, it's easy for you to say, no, I'm okay, I'm good.
Oh, yes.
But in the beginning, there must have been that temptation of, I just...
I can't blame anyone who is in that
Yes.
space, especially if you're at the beginning.
Yeah.
I will only blame someone who is maybe 4-5 years in already,
And
you're
it's
still thinking that way.
Yeah.
Because also when we begin, and I don't even think it's only fashion, really, it could be anywhere else.
Yeah.
That when you're beginning, you have not found yourself yet. You don't know where you're comfortable at that point. You don't know where your niche is, and you're just thinking, is it this? Is it that? Is it the other? Because I feel like at that particular time, I could have probably thought, but you know, I'm really good with jeans, eh? I think let me just stick with
Stay
jeans,
there,
you know? And sometimes you get into this field and you think, oh my God, my inspiration, and I see that a lot. My inspiration is Anita Beryl. She does wedding dresses, evening gowns, red carpet, that girl. That's exactly what I want to do because I want to be like her. The brand she has is what I want to be.
Yes.
And you forget that you could be that, but of the denim world, you see.
Yes.
You could be that, but you're that, but in the jewelry world.
Yes.
So we have a habit of just
copy and
paste, and we think that maybe the one who is successful, what they do is what I need to do. And also, no, that's not true
That's
at
not
all.
it,
Like at all. When you come back down to here, and you're starting out, it's important. to be alert during that time to see, while you're taking on everything, where do you feel like you're delivering more? Where do you feel like you're comfortable? Because the truth is that you're not going to get up there and you're still doing absolutely everything. At that point, you need a much bigger team. You need so much more money. You need so much. Like when you pick a bigger brand now, you know, that does accessories, does all of these things, they can afford it because they have, I sit here and I have 5 things running. There's a creative director here, there's a creative director here, so I can afford it. But we can't afford it.
Now,
Yes, we can't afford it at that time when we're starting and when we're growing. And while you get in there, I would say, if you feel that that's where you want to stay, by all means, keep juggling.
I hear you, because you're saying it's okay to be in that place where we are surviving. Just don't stay.
Don't stay in there.
In that place where we're surviving.
Give it a time and say, I'm going to survive now because
for this much
I'm
time.
going to figure out how what is going to make. We can't live surviving in survival mode.
Yeah.
You know, I'm surviving because I want to see what can make me thrive.
Yes.
You know, how do I thrive? Is it this or is it this? Once I get it, I'm off.
Yes.
You know? And then I'll put all my effort into
and energy
this one,
there.
and then you will see me thrive.
Right. Well, that's good advice. So you're not knocking the whole starting out everywhere and trying to make a quick buck for airtime and what.
At that point,
yes.
for sure.
But work, say, in 2 years, I should be somewhere else, and then work towards that.
Yes.
And the market thing, because like I said, a few years ago, somebody probably even told you that you are mad to be charging certain prices. You won't get clients. People won't be consistent. But you know why you've stayed to that side. And there's a market, obviously, because you're still in business and you're still wanting to grow in business. Talk to people who are afraid to get to the premium quality side of their businesses because they think, the average Ugandan
I
is
can
this
assure
way.
you there's market everywhere. So there's the average, a sea of people there. There's the cream, a sea of people there that are actually uncatered to. And there's also the very, because you see we have stages, and these are the stages we have all gone through.
Yes.
Probably 20 years ago, I could not even afford to have something custom-made for myself. And that was okay, because that's where I was. I needed someone at that level to cater to my needs.
Yes.
As I grew up, I got to a stage and a level where I could afford to buy a couple of things. Like, okay, now I have little. It's also at a certain space, but that's okay. Yeah. I needed someone to cater to me at that level. And quite frankly, we can all decide where we want to stay. But then you grow up also bigger, I mean, age, you grow older, and you have also...
Even your palette for what you like.
Exactly, because you have grown up now. The things I used to love before are not the same now. And the kind of taste now I have is different. I need someone to also cater to me at that level. When I come back now into the service providing of that, I have to decide who I want to cater to. It is very okay to stay where you're going to charge 200 shillings for a dress. Because what it gives me is, for example, I always tell my clients, I'm like, by the way, there's a budget for everything. And like any money you get me, I can get you a dress. And you could come here and say, I have 100K, I need a dress. I'll give you a dress. Another one will come in and say, I have 4 million, I need a dress. And I'll give them a dress. Yeah. There's another one who cannot even touch it if it didn't cost $10,000. Yeah. You know?
They're like, what dress is that you'll be giving me?
Oh my gosh, are you sure?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So there is a client at every single level.
Yes.
You have to decide.
Who are you serving?
Who you're serving. Except that when you decide who you're serving, you have to be ready for that.
Okay.
You have to really be ready for that. You're not going to sit here and tell someone you want 5 million shillings for a single dress, and you want to go down and get ordinary satin and just wrap it around her and then
right.
No. I have to see where the 5 million
value.
Yes. I have to see where the 5 million is. I have to see what it is. It has to be different. It should be original. I shouldn't be buying a 5 million thing and then customized meanwhile. And then we're 4 people in the same room with the same thing.
On the same event,
I'm like, at that point, I don't think we're there yet. We're Ugandans, we'll have to be different.
We're not there.
We're not yet.
Yeah.
And I think that the trick is just to know who your client is.
Right.
The moment you know who your client is, work for them. Because it also goes to the other people.
Right.
I can be here, I come to you and I say, I'm buying a bag. And then I walk into a store and I find a bag and it's maybe, let's say 3.5 million shillings. It doesn't scare me. I'm like, oh, okay. Must be really nice. I start feeling it to see how worthy it is of this.
Yeah.
And then there's another person who will walk into me like, what do you mean 3 million?
Will it drive itself back home? Will
Does
it
it come
deliver
with a
itself?
cow? You're cheating. You're doing that. Dear Lord, you're in the wrong shop.
Yes.
You are in the wrong shop. That's not you. You have not arrived at that level where you can
where
hold
you're
a bag
okay.
of 3.5
Yes.
million shillings.
Yes.
And when that time comes, you won't complain.
True. True.
You will not complain.
Yes.
But also when that time comes, you need someone who will have...
Who will serve you
will
at
serve you
that
at that
level? Oh my
So
gosh.
when you choose your levels, like, you know that you will always find people.
Yes.
And when someone comes like, no, that is so high, I say, and I even tell them, like, there's a level I won't go below. And that is okay, because I do not want to do something that I don't feel comfortable with.
Yes.
And I know that at that level, there's also someone else who can actually
Who can
do it.
serve you?
Who can
Yeah,
serve you.
yeah.
So it's not even anything to do with, I don't know how I can call it, but it is just understanding where you are, where you want to go. And it's okay. Today you cannot afford a 5 million dress. Tomorrow you will afford it.
Yes.
And today you might not be able to serve someone. You might not be able to charge that amount of money because you're not there yet.
Exactly.
You know, you've only just landed into this. It's 2 years. You've not faced it. You've not, been exposed like finest of these things.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Don't jump also to charge
don't
what
jump.
Beryl is charging in 2 years just because...
Because you're here 2 years. I've been here 15 years.
Exactly.
I have known where to get what kind of fabric is going to stay. I always love it when I see a picture of my client and it's like, oh, 5 years later, I see your dress. I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know, it meant that we did it genuinely, happily, and
Yes.
the quality was really, really, really key. So
Yeah. What I'm also hearing about the thing, even when you turning your passion into profit,
yeah.
you should care about the standard. And the only person setting the standard is you.
You were the standard.
Precisely. So the same way we're saying that your habits of how to handle money seep into the business,
Yes.
your standards as a person mirror into the business. Because I've known you for so many years, and I can tell you that at every season you have become someone else.
Yes.
Your standard has been raised, and so has equally your business.
Yes.
So I think we're saying the same thing, that even as a person who's watching today,
Yes.
who want to elevate and make your money moves, you as a person also needs to...
You need to.
Your standard needs to... Your business won't grow so fast if you are not growing so fast as well as a person. As we wrap, I don't know if you can think on anything that has been around having a passion, because there might be people watching who've taken the tips you've given, but are not going to be in fashion.
Yeah.
They're in something else, or their passion is something else. Their talent and skills are completely different. What do you say about people as we wrap? Because for me, I've found that the talent and the skill is me. The same way you have your mind and you can do something. But then I find that I have to explain and work with people. And I feel like, okay, outside of my talent and skill, I have to have people skills. I have to know how to manage people, figure out who easily works with my personality, who easily doesn't work with my personality. And sometimes people who are creative or who have some sort of talent or skill or passion feel like, but I know. I can do this. We're not devoid of people. So if you can speak into just working with people and how they elevate our dreams and our passions, and any other thought you might have to add on to whoever's watching.
I think that, first of all, it's key.
Yeah.
Like, you could sit here and you make the most beautiful dresses. Or your business does, let's say, makes carpets, and you have the best of them, I also don't really think that this applies only to like my fashion business or that kind of department. I think the whole, like my story, I think can actually apply to
anyone. Yeah.
So, I think that the same way I have struggled in some ways and at some levels, other people also struggle there. It's really just about business. It's not even about what you love.
Yes.
It's just that what makes this similar is that at one point we both love what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So we had that passion for that, but we're trying to now make it make sense and make it make money for us. And whether it's fashion or not, it's important, very important, to have the highest customer care, customer communication. Talking to people and relating with people in a certain way keeps you warm enough to, to attract more people.
Right.
There are people that will have a place, or let's say, I could even say a hotel. You walk into a hotel and you're going to probably have lunch there and stuff. The welcome that you're given, the way you're taken care of, the way it will tell you whether you're coming back instantly, whether you're coming back or not. And sometimes we have had to literally walk out and say, you know what, I'm not here for this. It's fine.
And yet they have the best food.
Listen.
But they've hired the wrong people. Yeah.
And I don't think that if you, having that, like you have to really have this, like I don't know whether we would call it, like, I don't know how I can.
It's not even a connection, it's like respect.
It's more like a respect, or even if you want to do it professionally, learn how to treat people nice.
Basics.
You might not even feel it inside, but it's important that when someone walks into your business, do you know what makes you buy something so expensive in, let's say, a deer shop? Because walking, the very first thing you welcome to is a refreshment. Is it tea?
I was about to say, the makeup stores.
Listen,
you feel like this is your best friend. You almost want to gossip and tell her.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're buying lipstick, 2 shades lighter than you. The girl was like, oh, your eyes.
Yes.
Oh my God. And you're like, they are?
They are?
They're beautiful.
They're wonderful. So I think that how you actually
how you treat people,
how you treat people, how you interact with them, how willing you are to make them comfortable around you keeps them coming. But also that's like beautiful energy around
yes,
you.
yes.
I really truly believe in having great energy and happy energy and positive energy, because that attracts more and more and more.
Yeah.
And there's also a reason, and you know how that does? It's just that as you grow, you end up attracting more. There's going to be a reason someone is going to call me from another country and say, I want you here. As in, it is one thing to order stuff, because we now all like the business is very global. Like we actually
you can send address to
I
anywhere.
can send address everywhere, but you're going to have this person who says, I want you here on that day. Yeah. And they're willing to pay anything.
Fly in and make sure
make sure I have done many of those now, and I'm like, and each time that happens, I'm like, God, thank you, because I don't think this is because I have the best dresses in the world. But I also think, because some of these people can actually afford to go to Vera Wang and say, Vera, come here. Yeah. But what energy
it's how they feel
from her?
It's how you've made them feel. Right.
It's how you make them feel right from the beginning. It's how you cater to them. It's how honest you are with them. Right. It's how you keep your targets, and you say, Friday, you're going to come in and you're going to pick up your dress at 2 p.m. And you meet Friday 2 p.m. And that is not to say that it must really be, because sometimes things happen and you're not able to. But did you make a phone call and say, you know what, I won't be able to make Friday 2 p.m.? Can we make 4 p.m.? Or are you able to move to Saturday instead? Because the moment you have talked to them earlier, you've communicated, they feel respect.
There's a trust there, yes, and respect.
There's a trust there. There's something you build, and you know that if anyone comes to me, I will collapse before they're disappointed. I need to be in hospital, Otherwise, why? You know? Because that's where you're headed. So I think that how we treat people, it's like how they tell you never know who is around. You walk into a space and you're doing all this moody, blah, 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 blah. There was someone who would have taken you to a next level.
I may not buy, but I might refer 10 other clients.
No, nobody's even asking. Yes, because the people that you might be my gateway to something else that is way bigger. Yes. So I think it goes back to say, just put out what you want to attract, put out what is going to attract
back to you.
So I think that at that point, it's very key. And people talk, especially if I don't know anything about any other countries, I know the Ugandans talk. How you treat them today, they'll be telling another person.
I'm going to Anita.
Like,
which Anita?
Yeah. Or they'll say, I went here, but that girl, Or they'll say,
and whether it's true or not, by the way,
it does not
that's
matter.
enough. That's enough.
But you want them to say, oh my God, you're fine. It's also not a good thing. It's a very big problem, because I faced it.
Really?
Yes, I faced it where they come to you, it's 2 weeks to the wedding, and they're like, no, Anita, you told me there's no way you can fail. They said,
Oh, yes.
I'm like, but you know how much pressure that is for me.
I know you won't disappoint me.
No, like, no, Anita, I know you won't disappoint me. I had a person, I even begged, I said, please come and try this dress on for me. Like, we have 4 days to the wedding.
Yes.
Anita, I know it will work. I'm like, please don't trust me that much. And I don't want to trust myself that
Trust me, but not to this extent.
Like, I want it, but don't go
But
that
those are
deep,
good problems,
you know.
Anita.
They're very, very beautiful problems.
Yeah.
It's just that the pressure that comes
Yes,
with them
yes.
is also intense.
Yes.
And you have to be aware of it.
Yeah, I was itching to wind up, and then I remembered that question I've always wanted to say. How do you end up? Because you have to say no to certain things. Sometimes I have the money to pay for the service, but there's other. I think you and I have always talked about it in terms of standard. There's some things ethically or things that you can't compromise on. And I know in the starting stages of the business, we're not going to tell you to have your morals can reduce for the paycheck. But I mean, there are those things you stand by, and people I think don't understand that. I think it was somebody who was delivering flowers to a wedding venue, and it was someone's ranch, and it's a rich family, and I think it's the way they were treating her staff. And she said, I'm so sorry. I will have to forfeit this check. It is not worth it. It's important to me how you treat my staff. They've been nothing but polite, and I'm so sorry I won't be able to do the job. And they gave back the money. And the argument was like, which money? Abuse me, abuse my ancestors, abuse my children. I'll take the money. But not everybody is like that. There are things, should we have things that are like a baseline for?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely. You see, unless you have decided to sell your soul.
Which some people have.
Yes. And if you have, we live in a world that's free. Everybody has freedom to do exactly what they want.
Yeah.
So unless for you that's okay, but there are things that money for me cannot buy. I don't just work because you're going to pay me. Otherwise, I don't know how much you would be paying me to go through some kind of stresses that, for example, I go through when I'm trying, like, for example, to track down a fabric that I need created in 4 days, and it can't be created in 4 days, and like that's pressure that I don't think you can pay for, because that's my health, you know. And it gets to a point where if you're money-minded completely, I am so blessed that money has not been one of those things that are so important. And when I started, I wasn't looking at it because I also didn't feel like I was worth it. Yeah. It came from that. I was like, no, I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think this is good enough. That's why I'm willing to, when you say 200, I'm willing to say, yeah, don't worry, I'll do it, So I make so many losses. But that also helped me because I got to a space where I realized that, no.
Money isn't everything?
No, it isn't everything. To be honest with you, I don't know. That could be a whole day. But you see, when you don't focus so much on it, you focus so much on the product that's going out.
Right.
It came to be about, you come to me and you have so much money, and I have literally, I work with those every single day. And I even tell them, like, at this point, even if I multiply this by 2 and you can pay, this amount of work cannot be produced in those 2 days.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter how much money you have. Even if I didn't sleep again, I cannot do
Even
this.
if me and my staff didn't sleep.
We cannot do this in 2 hours. It's not going to be possible, But if I'm thinking about the money, I'm thinking, oh, they can
triple.
More. They can triple. You triple.
We'll do it.
And then I'll give you the most basic thing that I can do, in that time, you see. And then also the other thing was how we get treated. Because this is my dream, this is my child, this is my everything. I want to do this job happy. I don't want to be put at gunpoint because you paid me money. I must do this. So most of them, they say, no, I don't have to do it. There's another person who can actually succumb to that kind of pressure, and they will do it, but I won't do it. Because also when money leads so much, it corrupts you. It corrupts a lot in you, and it starts being about how much more can I get, how much more can I get, how much more can I get. So you have to get to a space where there are literally basic things that you need to put in place and say, I don't do this, I don't do this, I don't do this.
Wow.
And even when you don't do it, you still have so many people that will come to you that believe in what for you.
Like you said, there's someone who needs you at every level,
Yes.
and someone you can cater to at
Yeah.
every single level. I feel like this has been like a 101 class when it comes to turning your passion into profit, and probably even gave us more than we had come for, because you gave us life lessons, and
Yes.
life lessons we can apply to any business,
To
any part of your life, even if you are the business yourself
We
and
really
you're the
are.
talent. Thank you so much for making the time and for sharing openly.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for having me.
If you are at that level,
Yes.
please make sure you're part of a BQ family.
Yeah.
We have to discuss that whole thing of wealth versus rich next, because we sometimes mix those two, but that'll be in the next episode. And if you are looking to invest your money somewhere so the money can then make money, and you don't want to start getting stressed, just told you that nobody can pay you enough for stress. Here's something of a wonderful product that BRITAM has. Until next week, bye.
Meet Moses. He invests in dollars, but here's the smart part. His dollars don't just sit there. They're out there making more dollars for him. He can take a break, but make or break, his dollars never rest. They're out there hustling for him 24/7, even when he's asleep, halfway through his dreams. Save your dollars with BRITAM Easy Earner Dollar and earn competitive interest in 3, 6, and 12 months. Call us today on 0312 305 600 or email clientservicesug@britam.com and let more dollars start rolling in.